Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Let's Get Gritty podcast with yours truly, Dr. India White. I'm thrilled to be here with you. I hope you're staying safe out there. I hope you're enjoying the breeze that we're starting to have here in Florida. The spring months are starting to come through. People are starting to garden again, and it's really a bright time regarding nature here down south. And I also hope that things are going well for you regarding your grocery shopping as you're getting your eggs and things like that, and you're starting to see eggs are, $16 going to $1 million, right? But hey, to each his own. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the show. First things first, the Let's Get Gritty podcast with Dr. India White will be featured on Spotify and all of the social media platforms. In addition to that, my social media platforms, I welcome you to follow me. Facebook is Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White 123. And TikTok is Dr. India White. Threads is also Indie238. And Blue Sky is, I believe it's Dr. India White, like .bsky, right? You'll find me. I'm so thankful to be connected with all you guys. And if someone can help me with my social media when it comes down to my labeling, I greatly appreciate it. My only concern is that if I change my handles, do I lose my audience? Do I lose my friends that are on there? And people have not been able to give me a clear answer. So if you could follow up with me after the show, it'd be great. With that said, also happy Women International Day. Happy Women's Month as we celebrate women this month. Just want to give all the women a shout out. I also want to remind you guys to please check out the website whenever you get a chance at www.india-white.com for books, blogs, or to schedule me for any events that you would like for me to join you guys at, so we can talk about grit, education, and different topics. I have some upcoming events. I know in March, there's a STEM conference coming up. There's also a VCTM at the end of the month in Vermont. I'm honored to be the keynote there. You guys are amazing. I can't wait to mingle and learn from all of you. I know I'm bringing some knowledge, but you guys are amazing. So can't wait for that. Minnesota, slotted to speak. Thank you guys for that opportunity. FCTM, I'm excited about that. Go Florida. The joint conference in CTM and NCTE, I plan on being there with you guys. Camp, hoping to see you guys at Camp. I'm hoping to see you guys at NCSM and NCTM. I'm honored to everyone for accepting my proposals. And also, if there are sponsors out there that would love to sponsor me, I would be glad to join you guys and to hook you up with whatever. So I definitely welcome sponsorship as well. In addition to that, please don't forget the Grit Academy. I just got done tutoring a really awesome kid who just took the SAT and ACT, and I'm sure he did an amazing job. There are online tutoring options there for you. So please spread the word, even if it's not for you. Maybe there's a kid down the street or, a student that, is in your school or whatnot that needs some extra support. So with that said, now I am honored to honor a gritty woman that is amazing, and she has been gritty in her own right, as a business owner, life coach, as a leader, in so many different fields. And I just want to have a fun conversation with this amazing woman as I continue to celebrate women during this Women's Month. So please help me welcome and bring onto the Let's Get Gritty podcast with Dr. India White, Heidi Diercks, which I am super happy to have this beautiful soul onto the show. Welcome, Heidi. How are you?
Glad to be here with you. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
To have you. Yes. So listen, Heidi, people don't know you. Like, I've already learned to know a little bit about you. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a retired teacher. I've taught secondary science and math for over 20 plus years. I also have 4 beautiful children. And the last one is a senior in high school. So I'm about to be an empty nester.
Ooh, awesome. That's amazing that you have been a teacher and you have contributed to education for all those years. Thank you so much for your contributions. But I heard that you're also into being a life coach. Tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am. I have always been a life coach. I've realized over the years that I was always giving advice. I was always coaching students and adults along the way. You name it, I've dealt with it. And so recently I've decided I just need to do it. And so December 1, I launched my brand, Heidi's Advent Living.
Awesome. Now tell us that that's so awesome. So you've always given advice. And so how did you come up with the title? What was that process like?
Well, about 12 years ago, I had actually written a reflection on Advent, this Christmas season of Advent, and the four seasons of hope, peace, joy, and love. And when I was reflecting on, what to name it and what should be my niche in coaching, um, that just hit me like a bullet. And then once I chose that and started proceeding, things have just snowballed. I went ahead and launched my brand December 1, and I'm preparing to take clients this month. So,
Congratulations. That's fabulous. I love to see
thank you.
women like yourself shine. So we are honoring you and giving you your flowers this month
Thank you.
for your amazing contributions. And so this makes me think. So you said you were an educator. How were you able to use these elements of the four seasons to build, hope and grit into your students as you were teaching them?
To me, hope is the foundation for everything. If you don't have hope, I taught chemistry for the last 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's a tough one. A lot of people struggle with it. And if you don't have some hope of, learning and being successful, you're never going to be successful, no
Wow.
matter what it is. And you have to, of course, have grit. If you don't have that stick to itness to continue plugging away and studying and releasing the fear of failure, releasing the struggles, and I can't do this. You have to change your conversation internally. You have to say, yes, I am capable of learning. Maybe I'm not going to be an A student in this class, but I can be successful and I can learn.
That's
The
beautiful.
attitude, your mindset is everything.
I wish I had you as a teacher because chemistry I was horrible at. Um, I did okay, but I did not remember a lot of it. I was not good at chemistry. I was not good at physics. And so, hey, there you have it. I studied, it would take me 3 hours to study a math test just to get a C. I just was not a strong math performer. I didn't fall in love with that until later in life, and I still wasn't at the top of my class. I mean, I always, always struggled, you know what I mean? And so I think it's awesome that people like you exist, that you can help people like me who I'm not at the top. Like, and I don't think I could ever really understand chemistry, like you do, and like so many other wonderful chemists do. And so I think kudos to you for that. Now, when you are building grit and hope in your students as they're working on chemistry, for instance, tell me about a time or maybe some instances where you noticed maybe a trend or a pattern. Were you able to help them switch their fixed mindset? Because someone like me, I would have had, I would have started out in chemistry with a fixed mindset. Yes, I would have. So how do you take someone like me that's like maybe I'm a junior in high school and I'm like, I can't do this. There's no hope. How do you help them? They're not getting the passing scores. They're not understanding the homework. They've hit a brick wall. How do you help those students to overcome through grit and to thrive through a positive growth mindset?
Connect with them and make them realize they are capable of so much. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Mine happened to be math, physics, and chemistry and computers. That was my area. But, writing at the time, I used to hate to write. And, spelling, oh my gosh. I had a speech impediment as a kid.
Gotcha.
And yet I have gone to competitions, state and national competitions.
Wow. Amazing. So you were able to overcome your speech impediment at state and national competitions. What do you
Yes.
think
And
what was your mindset like then?
you just have to practice. You have to um, there's certain words. In fact, my students would always love to pick at me because they'd be like, say it again, Mrs. Dirk, say it again. And I'm like, oh, shut up, but you know what? I didn't stress about it. I just kind of let it go. And it's like, they make fun of me for that. And I'm like, you know what? It's just a little joke between us. You know,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, is getting people to relax and realize, I had a student who was, struggled so hard. Oh my goodness, bless his heart. He'd come in before after school, get help, and you get him to talking about his tractors, and my goodness, that boy knew so much and was so smart when it came to his farm and his tractors and like. And guess what? Today he is successful. He has his own, business that he
Excellent.
operates with Harvest Custom Crews and everything. And he's finding his own success. And so people need to realize, okay, this isn't my area, but you have to play up your strengths and compensate for your weaknesses. And when they realize, I am smart, I am capable, then they realize, hey, you know what? I do have the ability to learn and I can get something out of this.
Right. I like that. And it reminds me of the message of grit. It seems like that's what you've been cultivating in your students all this time, is you're helping your students to be better. And I like how you said the student is successful. He might not have a doctorate, but he's still successful, right? And I'm glad you said that, because especially with the way education has been moving, we have to start majoring on different skill sets and trades and businesses for students, so that they will have something to look forward to, and something consistent and something reliable for the long term. Because I think that, students sometimes they beat themselves up because they're like, oh, I didn't get accepted to Harvard. I didn't get accepted to Yale, so I'm a failure. No, you're not. You can work around those closed doors, and you can even create your own doors, like your students and even like yourself. So I'm so thankful that you talked about that. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about grit and, and even your journey. For instance, how did the obstacles that you faced in your journey, just overall, now that you're pursuing your journey as a life coach, and you've been an educator, and you've done so many fabulous things, how has your obstacles on your journey, how have they helped to propel you onto the road of success today?
I think when you run into obstacles, they help to make the person that God intended you to be, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy path, but life was never promised to be easy. In
Right.
fact, if it's worthwhile, it's going to be tough.
Right. That's
And
beautiful.
you just have to embrace the challenge and, just take it piece by piece and do what you can do and break it down into manageable steps.
Right.
And, enlist a team,
Right.
whether it be your spouse, your parents, your kids, a friend, enlist the help of others. Say, hey, I'm struggling here with this or whatever. But yeah,
That's
life is a journey. And, yeah, you have goals and you have aspirations of getting to where you want to be, but you have to also make the most of the time you're in at the
right.
moment.
Beautiful. And I'm happy you're saying that, because life has hit so many of us um, like a ton of bricks. Myself, I even have been impacted by some of the changes that have been taking place and during some of the transitions that we have all been facing. And so, with that said, what advice, I want you to speak now, if it's okay, from the lens of a life coach. What advice would you give maybe a woman, as a life coach that empowers women, or whoever, teachers, especially teachers? You might have a lot of clients in the future regarding this, but how do you help them to stay gritty during transitions, a sudden job loss, I mean, I don't know if you've been following the news, but if not, if you have not had time, or if someone out here watching you have just been living under a rock, there have been so many different transitions in the world, particularly of education. We've had millions of dollars that have been cut. We've had positions that have been cut. and teachers are talking about this, and some teachers are really shocked because they're going through transitions. University professors are going through transitions. Things are happening that are beyond their control. So how do they stay gritty when they feel like I poured my life's work into this and now it's been taken from me and without cause? I don't know what to do. So how do you help people that are in a pickle where they're dealing with, if whether it's a job loss or a death or a divorce or whatever? How do you help people deal with these transitions?
Couple years, I have known nothing but transitions between my kids moving out to off to college, divorce, changing jobs. And, honestly, it's through these changes that I feel that I'm growing. And you have to sit
Wow.
and you have to focus, and you're like, okay, this happened, what can I do? What do I have control over?
Wow.
You have to focus on what you can do. You know, we can't control, a lot of major changes are taking place right now, and you can only do so much. Ultimately, the most important thing you can control is your mindset.
Wow.
And that will carry you so far. So it helped me. I did counseling, and then I enlisted a divorce coach.
Yeah.
And that
Beautiful.
helped me realize. And then when I transitioned from a career in manufacturing to insurance, this has allowed me the opportunity to say, you know what, I've been thinking about being a life coach for so long. I've been basically a life coach for so long, but I just haven't had that label.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten certified. I'm certified about a half dozen topics at this moment. And I'm ready to help these women and other people. I've had people on a few podcasts that I've already been on that have reached out to me and said, thank you so much for being real.
That's
Because life
we need
is
realness right
a
now.
journey. We got to share it with everybody,
Yeah.
and quit this facade that everything is perfect.
You're right.
I have worked with um, an organization where students supporting our other students,
Yeah.
and they had to go through this training of coaching each other. And they had to go through a real life problem that they experienced. And every single one of those students and these were good families, good kids, good
Mhm.
families
Yeah.
that people on the outside would say, oh, they don't have to. Oh my goodness, those kids each had a serious problem. Dad was addicted to painkillers, sister was pregnant in high school, and only one didn't have a real problem. And guess what? Her parents were divorced the next year.
Wow. Look at that.
And
Like, looks like life
so
hits us all,
people, yeah, exactly. Nobody is, you know, without out of touch,
right?
of things happening to them. And
I
people
love
need to realize that and say, you know what? We're in this journey together, and we need to help each other through it.
Beautiful. And I'm so thankful you said that. And I hope that those in the education space heard that. I hope that business owners heard that. People that are that are feeling like they are under some type of target or attack. I hope that they heard that we are in this together. And I'm telling you, this all hit me like a deer in the headlights. Some of the things that I turn on the news and I'm just like, I don't even know. I don't even know how to respond emotionally, because these things, they hit me emotionally first, right? And I'm sure all of you can understand because we're all human. But then I start thinking of my friends, and then I start getting phone calls and emails, and then I start having conversations with my girlfriends and my groups. And it's just a lot of us right now are really disappointed. I mean, it started with egg prices, and now we're like, can we be real? Can we still make sure that we can have each other's back? And can we still see hope? And I think that like you said, people need realness right now. We don't need fakery. We don't need everybody to be perfect, act like they don't have any issues, or to flaunt their excellence or to flaunt their wealth. And like, we need people right now to reach back, to pay it forward, to join in on those that are underserved, marginalized, those that are being affected directly, and see how can you do your part. You don't have to buy a Porsche but you can give, or you can, say a kind word, you can give a card, you can do something, you can pay a visit, you can listen to a phone call, you can have some type of empathy or compassion, and especially in education. And I'll say this, if people are in education spaces and they don't have compassion or empathy and they can't relate, I think they're in the wrong field. I think because they're like callous robots. They don't need to be among students or among others if they're not willing to, at least feel for someone's pain and see what they're going through. This is just a very tough time. And I'm so happy that people like you exist, that you are doing this work, because we need more coaches. We need more hope. We need peace. We need joy and love. Now, I want to go back to those seasons, Heidi, if that's okay. Now, out of these seasons, which one is your favorite?
Well, I feel like hope is the foundation to everything. Because without hope, there is, nothing. I mean, what do you have to live for?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think with all these transitions happening for everybody and what's going on in our world today, it's scary. And you can sit there and you can stew and, watching the news and unfortunately the social media that, has this side pitting this side, and I'm like, you know what, we're really all in this together. And if they would stop sitting there trying to pull each other to, one side or the other, that's just tearing the world
there
apart.
aren't any sides. This is a country. This is a whole conglomerate issue, right? And so it's like you said, there aren't sides. We're all going to feel the effects of this. Whether you feel it right now or if you feel it when you're in the nursing home 20 years from now, and you see that the people that are taking care of you aren't as educated, or you see that the resources aren't there for your specific needs. Okay, then you're gonna see, oh, oops, I should have said something. I should have cared a little more, right? So I think it's beautiful. We do need hope, Heidi. We need peace right now. We need it.
Well, and that's the thing is you have to, peace and joy to me are important, and being able to experience peace, experience joy despite your circumstances.
Beautiful.
You cannot, if you are relying on, things are all peachy keen and, I can experience joy now or happiness. And that's the problem is happiness is dependent on the circumstances. Joy is internal and you feel it regardless of circumstances. And the same thing with peace. You have to be at peace in your life, regardless of what's happening around you, regardless of I'm struggling to pay the bills. What am I going to do next week for a job? You just have to sit and focus and prioritize what do you want and what can you do with what you have at this moment.
Powerful. This is beautiful, and we need to hear this. It's helping me too.
Thank you.
As someone that I travel quite frequently, and I have tried to help several people across just in my life's journey. But sometimes, I feel like giving up hope sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. And I try not to get too real on the show, but today I'm gonna get a little real. Sometimes I do feel like, what's the use? It's like you have so many different things taking place and you just get sick of it sometimes, and it's just like, why even try if you don't feel like you're appreciated, or you feel like you showed up looking wrong, or you showed up, just, it's like all these little stupid things that shouldn't be, that have affected the way of work, even in education. And so when you said hope and peace and joy and love, it resonated with me. We definitely need more love, more than anything. But I would say hope also, because what about the people that have burned out? They're like, I've tried all this. And like when you said, okay, just sit quiet and get quiet and figure it out. What if they have burned out and they are at their wits' end and they're like, I can't even attempt this anymore. Like, I'm just, how do they get a footing with this? Where would you suggest, that they try to pick up again and start with this?
For in the short term, if you need to spend a day or two, or, and just stew in it, sometimes, just let yourself take care of yourself, just exist, take care of yourself, be in the moment and feel your feelings.
And say no, right?
And then you move on.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel my feelings. I got it. I accept it. Now, what can I do to move the next step, even if it's a baby step, every little step.
This is so good. And the thing is, this makes me think of Heidi, are people pleasers. And I used to be a
Oh my
big
goodness, yes.
people pleaser. People
Me
pleasers,
too.
we fall prey to narcissists. We fall prey to people with dirty agendas towards us, and they will take you for all your worth, chew you up, spit you out, and they smile in your face the whole time until they get what they want, and they discard of you. Whether it's a narc, whether it's an organization, whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter. Some people are disgusting. Some people will hang around you just to get your brand and get your ideas and run.
Yeah.
I've had all these different types of things, and so it makes me think. Sometimes this burns you out too because you're in the wrong hands. You trusted people, and it's like you're as a people pleaser. You're like, oh well, yes, I'll do this, and oh yes, and they're not doing right by you. But somebody told me, Heidi, they said you have to learn how to show up for yourself and love yourself enough to make sure that you're doing right by yourself. If you are hanging out with people that when they are around you in your presence, they act like they just vomited, or they act like they're avoiding the COVID plague, or like, well, then guess what? You don't deserve my company. You take your power back, right? And own that self-care, that love. Like, you don't have to go to everything. Yes. You don't have to say yes anymore. And that is where I'm at too. I'm at that place where I'm not going to say yes all the time. And I think that what you're doing is you're empowering women like that have dealt with that, and just different leaders have dealt with that people pleasing.
Definitely. That you have to realize, like, going back to what you said there with the people using you and abusing you, and that's a reflection of them. Did you do right by you? Wow. That ultimately is what matters. Are you happy with you? Do you love you? And the 4 seasons with the love, I'm breaking it into 2 parts because first off, you can't have a relationship with anybody else if you're not happy with yourself.
That's the truth.
And so you have to take care of you. You have to love you so you can be able to say no.
Yeah.
When you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else.
Right.
It is a 2-edged sword there. Do you want to say yes to yourself, or do you want to say no to yourself? So you need to decide what is your priorities and live by them.
Beautiful. And then the love will flow as you love yourself again.
Yes.
And to
and then you learn to set up boundaries.
Yes.
And exactly. And learning to recognize, like you said, with the narcissist, I've done a lot of research and study with narcissism, and it's amazing because there is such a wide spectrum of narcissists. Yes, and it's a label that's thrown out a lot, just like ADHD is everybody,
Right.
But the point is, it's a spectrum.
Yes, there is.
And you have the type A that people think of when they say narcissist, but there's a lot of narcissistic tendencies along the way there that you have to learn to watch out for and say, oh, is that a red flag? Green flag, red, and just once you start, and you have to educate yourself, and you have to enlist the people that can help you with that, because that's what it took me in counseling and in coaching and helping me to recognize and learn and that I am worth it, and I can recognize those. Getting back out into the dating world was tough because do you trust yourself?
Yeah.
It's good. Like, what signs, are good, a red flag, and what signs are a green flag. And, that goes with just people in general. And so I feel like I am better equipped to handle other people as well as not just the dating scene, because I have learned to recognize signs and the different types of people.
And I think that's amazing. And I give you your flowers for that. We need you to coach more women like myself and like others out here that are trying to navigate through the signs. I too am, I'm in a relationship. So for me, it's just navigating the everydays, but I'm also very hopeful because, I'm also keeping God in the center of things. But long story short, when it comes down to, we need more counselors when it comes down to these mind games and these narcissistic tendencies that people have, and that people lure us in, to discard us, and it's horrible. And it's like and I think where I hope your coaching also helps women and people is for those that have been discarded. You were ripped off, financially, you were used and abused emotionally, someone stole your ideas. I've had so many opportunities and I've presented business ideas to people just for them to go take it and run with it, and pay the neighbor down the street. I've had copyright infringements. I've had all kinds of stupid stuff, and have dealt with being discarded, right? And so sometimes I've always wondered, like, who helps those that have been discarded? And I think that what you're saying just resonates with that. Like, I'm sure there's so many people that can attest to, yes, I've been used and abused, chewed up, spit out, and now they're just stuck here. And they're like, how do I start over? How do I become alive again? How do I repurpose my life? Like, what do I do? So what are some tips as a life coach? What are some tips that you would give to someone that's trying to pick their life up again after being discarded?
The important thing is when you've gone through things like that, you've got to remember that you matter. You are worthy of more. You are worthy of chasing your dreams. Everybody else will fall in place, and your kids will appreciate you in the long run because you stood up for yourself. And in standing up for yourself, then they will see you as an example and see you as, you are healthy, you are well, you are loved.
I love that. Oh my gosh. As a single mom, there have been times that I have just wanted to pull my hair and I've just been raggedy, trying to show up for my children because I was putting my soul out there for people that didn't appreciate me, right? And then it's like you come back to your children, and just like you're saying, when you finally start showing up for yourself and you start caring enough for yourself, and stop trying to please people that don't even give 2 cents about you, that is when things do align. And you're so right. Your kids, they value that. They value because you are irreplaceable. People might have discarded you, companies might have discarded you, but at the end of the day, you are, irreplaceable. And so I think this is a beautiful message of healing and hope that you're offering to people. And so I can't wait to look more into your work, Heidi, as a life coach. And I'm looking forward to seeing your resources and different content that you'll have out here in your space. But I celebrate you 100%. Thank you so much for being amazing. Guys, look into Heidi's work. If you're a woman that needs to be empowered, women that are going through transitions, whether that's divorce or, grief, or if you're going through some other types of job loss, educational turmoil, then reach out to Heidi because she'll be here to help. Now, Heidi, just for the record, can you tell the audience how can we contact you?
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, Heidi Diercks, and Heidi's Advent Living, both. So I will be sure to include that so you can have it in the show notes. So
Heidi,
I also give a little freebie there too with just different tips. How can you, get more hope, peace, joy, and love? And so look for that as well.
Yes, we need that. And thank you so much. So it's Heidi's Advent Living on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Y'all go ahead and go there. Check her out because she's amazing. And again, thank you so much, Heidi, for coming and sharing your love and your wisdom on the Let's Get Gritty podcast. This has been a fabulous show. It's helped me personally as well. I can't wait to dig into more of your content to see what you have. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me on the Let's Get Gritty podcast with Dr. India White. Again, this will be featured on Spotify. It will be featured on social media. I already gave you guys my social media handles. And I also told you guys about some upcoming conferences here that you can check me out at. I already told you about the website. And I'm now going to ask Heidi for her last words before we wrap up the show. So if you have any last minute advice or any other promos that you want to tell us about, Heidi, let us know.
Well, I'm excited to be part of the RX for Career Success Conference in April, and we actually are doing a book as well, and that should be published about the same time there, mid-April. And so I'll include the link so you can show for that. There's going to be a 2-day conference from 10 to 6, and I am one of the presenters there. I will be talking about your growth mindset and career goal success. And there's like 18 other presenters, and I'm so excited to be a part of this fabulous opportunity.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing. So you guys heard that. Also follow up with Heidi on her social media to see when she does go and speaks in April, and she'll be able to show off, all of her greatness there. Keep in touch with her. She's amazing. And again, thanks so much, Heidi, for joining us. And thank you all for joining us in the Let's Get Gritty podcast. And until next time, stay gritty.
Okay.
See ya.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.